Hello there and welcome into the latest edition of the SAU Football Coaches Show. I'm Daniel Gallegos, joined alongside head football coach Bill Keopple. And Coach, week 3 of the season is upon us, so 2 weeks into the books. Your team right there at 500, 1-1, thrilling win in week 1, and more or less a disappointing loss here in week 2 against East Central. We'll go ahead and we'll talk about that game. There was some positives for sure in that game, especially early on. Your team gets up on East Central 20-0. Offense looked good. Defense, in particular, looked very good, particularly in that first quarter, holding East Central to -3 total yards. So that was obviously a standout. And then kind of where the game shifted a little bit, just from my perspective, East Central they went to kind of a no-huddle offense and were able to start generating a little bit of offense there. How did you guys see that as it was playing out when East Central started moving the ball?
Well, we really expected them to move the football at some point. They're too talented of a football team. It's not like we went over there and got beat by a team that's not very good. East Central's very talented, very good football team. And, we were very fortunate to jump up on them 20-0 at their place. Big crowd there, everything. Good night for football. The quarterback just gave us fits. We couldn't get him hemmed up. And, whether we didn't contain him or whether we let him out up the middle, Bond had a great night. Just a great individual effort out of their quarterback against us. Rushed for about 137 yards, had 4 touchdowns, and threw for 2 more. That's why he's the GAC Player of the Week, I guess. Obviously it shifted. The momentum shifted there a little bit late. Right after we scored to go up 20-0, we missed the extra point, was with a little bit of a downer. Then for them to go down and score, and right before the half, kick a 45-yard field goal on us, and they came in with a little bit of momentum on us, and that's all negative right there. We go down and score again, and before the half, and try the extra point, get it blocked, and they run it for 2 points. So those are all negatives right there in the kicking game that we can't allow, can't happen, and obviously, we got to get that short up. We got to get the ball up. We got to get it out quicker. We got to do a better job of protecting our kicking team. We've got a lot of work to do, and those are always the scary things early in a season. How guys are going to react when they get out there for the first time, and the mistakes they're going to make. We had numerous mistakes offensively in that football game, even though we had 437 yards and held the ball for 40 minutes and scored 40 points. We still had a lot of mistakes, a lot of things to correct and get better at. Defensively, I just think we got a little bit shell-shocked with that quarterback getting out on us, put a lot of stress on our secondary. I think it took a little wind out of us, and our effort level is not where it needs to be on that side of the football, and that's something we've been working hard at this week to get corrected. So, you can't cry about the past. Yeah, I'm upset about the loss. I don't know that I've been a whole lot madder after a loss than Saturday's game, because I really thought we were definitely getting it to overtime. We had an opportunity there late to get to our 18-yard line, and we fumbled, and then we fumbled backed up and gave them one there, and then they scored with 47 seconds on the clock to beat us. Just a tough, hard-fought game on the road that didn't go our way.
Obviously the weather being almost perfect football weather in that game, no rain or anything to worry about, and so like we had in week 1. Week 1 wasn't really able to really gauge the passing attack that maybe your team might be able to possess with Blackshire at quarterback. Week 2, with the nicer weather, able to obviously pass a little bit more. What kind of positive did you see out of the passing game with Blackshire and the rest of the receivers?
I thought we had a good night throwing football for the most part. There's some things we're still a work in progress there. Side Arias has played in 2 football games, as a starter, and he's a senior, and that's it. So he's learning on the job right now, and we've got some young receivers out there. Wise Hike caught 7 balls for us. He's a redshirt freshman. Tanner Hudson caught a touchdown pass for us. He's a redshirt freshman, and obviously Aaron Johnson had another big game for us. Got 1 touchdown called back on a holding penalty, of course, but I really see our receiving core getting better and better. We were able to get the ball in Z-Ware's hands, and he scored a touchdown, and Tevin made a great catch in the end zone for a touchdown. So there was a lot of positives there. Really disappointed in our running game. the other night. I thought we could run the ball better than we did against those guys. I think we put up some decent numbers yardage-wise, but per carry was terrible. And we've got to get that eliminated, and get better in that area. It really boiled down to some mental mistakes up front. And that gets your running backs not running as hard when they're getting hit like they were. There's still a lot of work to be done. We got a long season in front of us, and you just got to press on and go forward. And we got a big game this week.
Going back to the East Central game a little bit, defensively, I think one of the players that kind of stood out to most people watching the game, A.J. Steele, right in the middle of your defense at the linebacker position, led the team in tackles, 12 total tackles, 10 of them solo, forced a fumble on a big hit, and came away with an interception on their first drive that really kind of got things going for you guys in terms of momentum. Talk a little bit about A.J. Steele. He's a guy who was in the program for a while, took about a year or two off, and now is back as a senior. What has he meant to that defense?
Well, he's huge for us. I mean, obviously, A.J. was in our first recruiting class when we got here, and when he got into some academic problems a couple years ago, he decided to leave. He has a kid, and he was going through all those things, a lot of things pulling him from outside that made it tough on him. And it's amazing how much he's matured since he's come back compared to what he was. Very glad to have him back in the program. A very talented athlete, very good football player. He's just playing at a very, very high level right now, and his intensity level and the speed he's playing the game with are huge, and that's what you got to have on the defensive side of the football. We're very fortunate to have him out there right now. I think our linebacker core is pretty good, pretty solid. With him and with AJ and Lansdale and Rubisky's a very solid group. We got to have some guys behind them step up. Our defense is still got a lot of things to improve at. And but I think in the long run we'll have a good defensive football team for the year's out.
Looking ahead to this upcoming game here in Week 3, going on the road again to southwestern Oklahoma. A little bit of a longer trip than East Central was, but not a too terribly long trip compared to the Gulf South days, but still playing on the road. Last week, Southwestern opened up at home with their home opener against Tech, wound up coming back in the fourth quarter. So they're kind of riding a little bit of an emotional wave there, still playing at home. What do you anticipate in that matchup with you guys going on the road?
Oh, it'll be a dogfight. I mean, I don't expect anything different. I mean, the last time we went over there, basically 3 years ago now, it was a battle, and we're expecting the same thing this year. I mean, they've got 8 returning starters on the offensive side of football. They got the entire offensive line and 3 starting receivers back from last year. Now they had to replace their quarterback. He was in the program. They had to replace their running back. He was in the program. But that's a lot of experience coming back on the offensive side of the football. So we got our work cut out for us on defense for sure. They're a little younger on defense, but they have one of probably the best defensive lineman in our league that plays for them. So I mean, he's a guy that strikes fear into you because he can disrupt things big time in a lot of ways. I see talent in their back end. They got a lot of speed in their back end with a couple guys there. Got a linebacker back that has been playing for them, very solid player. I expect a war is what really what we expect out of it. I mean, we got so many things to correct on our end, and we got so much our guys got to grow up as football players that we got enough work to worry about ourselves instead of worrying about Southwest. So it's a tough trip over there. It's a 6-hour drive to Oklahoma City. We'll stay the night in Oklahoma City Friday night. Get up, have a pregame meal that afternoon, and get on the bus and drive another hour west to Weatherford and get dressed and ready to go. So it presents some problems as far as the travel part is concerned. Now that's the difficulty at this level, the length of the trips you make on a bus and staying in small hotels and strange beds, and things don't go right with your travel plans. Like last week, we got booted out of our hotel because of a mistake they made, and our bus broke down, and those things add up. And so hopefully we'll have a smooth trip with travel and our accommodations and the restaurants we have to eat in. Hopefully they'll be all right, and we'll go over there and have a successful weekend. I mean, that's our plan. This is a big game for us, a huge game for the Mule Riders and the rest of our season.
We appreciate it very much for your time again. That's head football coach Bill Keopple. Him and his Mule Riders prepare for Week 3 against Southwestern Oklahoma. Again, that game is on the road in Weatherford this Saturday, 6 o'clock kickoff time. Be sure to check MuleRiderAthletics.com for the weekly game notes leading up to it and all the live links so you can follow the Mule Riders from home. Coach, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel.